Guys, so what I want to show you here in a video is actually how to don and doff your sterile gloves following sterile technique principles. So when you guys get your sterile gloves, they will be in a foldable package just like this. They may also be enclosed in an outside package, which you are okay to touch and handle. Open the outside package, take out the folded piece just like this. Okay, we can still handle this outside because if we actually think about where we're going to set this down, we're going to be setting down our sterile packaging on top of a surface that is not sterile. So this does not have to remain sterile, but everything inside will have to remain sterile. And the way we will handle it once we get it open is by that 1-inch border. Okay, we follow that same principle with any packaging that has a sterile product on the inside. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully open up my flaps. Okay, again, this piece here is not sterile because once I open it, it's going to be sitting on top of a surface that is considered a clean surface, not a sterile surface. You will notice that it has flaps on both ends. So we want to tease the flaps a little, just meaning that you want to bend them a little bit back, going the opposite direction so that they stay open. The creases are quite tough. So if you don't do that, they will keep falling back on you. So carefully and take your time, okay? You don't want to rush and then contaminate. So make sure you are opening it correctly, following the principles, taking your time and not contaminating. So again, with this bottom flap, I'm just going to bend it a little bit so that hopefully it stays open. I can't guarantee anything. Once I get those flaps bent back, I now have these two flaps here on the inside. Following my 1-inch border principle, I'm going to only pinch the 1-inch border and I'm going to pull the flaps open. Okay, everything inside past my thumbs where I'm pinching is considered sterile, so you can't touch that with your fingers. You can move up and down your 1-inch border to secure your packaging, okay, just like this, but you do not want to touch inside your 1-inch border. That is all sterile. So what you want to do is you want to actually pinch the cuff of your non-dominant hand. You're going to glove your first glove on your non-dominant hand. So what I want to do is I want to pinch the cuff, okay, just to get that opening opened. I want to take my glove right off my package. And the reason for that is if you keep it on the package and the glove starts to slide up, it could slide up and touch your 1-inch border. So take your glove right off the package and wiggle your hand on the inside, okay? Be careful that your fist doesn't touch the outside of the glove or the fingers because those are sterile and your hand bare is not. So it is a tricky process, but take your time, wiggle your fingers in, okay? The sterile gloves are quite snug, and they're meant to be. So once you feel like you have a good handle and your fingers are in the holes, where you've pinched that cuff, just try and pull on back, okay, to get it up and over your knuckles. Okay, this is the inside cuff. This is why we don't wear jewelry in the lab. Okay, so good lesson learned. So I've just pulled the cuff right over top. I'm come back to where I was pinching the cuff, and now I just keep working my hand in, pulling back on that cuff, not touching the sterile part. Okay, I'm still touching the inside cuff here. Okay, if I can get a good grip on it, and then I'm just gonna pull back. Once I pull back and I let go, don't do anything. Don't fix it. Don't touch the sterile part. Don't pull back on the cuff here because then you'll contaminate. Once you get it on your hand and you let go of that cuff, just leave it, okay? Don't fiddle with it. As long as it's on your hand, it's good. So now in order to get on your second glove, you're going to take your sterile part and you're going to go under the cuff of your second glove so that now I'm touching sterile glove to sterile glove, okay? And this as well, making sure I put a little bit of pressure down on my fingers onto the glove so that it doesn't slide or move as you're trying to get your fingers underneath, okay? Once my fingers are underneath, again, I'm gonna lift it up and I'm just gonna adjust and make sure my fingers are nice and tall underneath that cuff. And then I'm gonna stick my second hand inside the cuff, okay? Finding the finger holes. And if they're messed up, don't sweat it too much, because once you get the glove on, you can fix the sterile fingers with your other sterile glove, okay? So I'm gonna slide this cuff up and over my hand, and then as soon as I get it as far as I want it, I'm gonna let go. See how my glove is all messed up, my fingers? So now this sterile part can touch this sterile part. So now I can take the time and I can adjust it, making sure that I don't go anywhere up near here where I could possibly contaminate. So I'm just gonna fix the fingers so that at least it's comfortable for the procedure. I'm gonna clasp my hands together to make sure my fingers are tight, and then now my gloves are on. If you wanted to move your packaging, you can. Remembering that principle, sterile to sterile, can touch it. Don't grab it by the outside because it's not sterile and you will contaminate your hands. If you need to move it, you can move it. But if it's not in your way, I do personally recommend leaving it. So if you put your sterile gloves on at the bottom of your patient's bed and the package is at the bottom of their bed and your procedure happens at the top of the bed, I would leave it so that you don't have to risk contaminating your hands, okay? But if you have to move it, you can grab it from the inside and pinch, ensuring that the 1-inch border doesn't come up and actually touch and contaminate your gloves. That's why I say if you don't have to move it, don't take the chance. But if you had to move it, you could pinch the middle carefully, moving it to the side and letting it go, and then carry on with your procedure, okay? So that's donning your gloves. Important piece is when you're putting on your first glove, you're pinching that cuff and doing the application. And when you're putting on your second glove, you're actually going under the cuff with your fingers and putting on the application. So now how you would actually remove the gloves, thinking that they're all soiled now or they have some type of soiling on them. We're gonna first pinch the first glove by the middle of the hand, and we're going to just pull it off the best you can in a controlled fashion. So wiggle your hand out. They are tight and you're gonna be a little bit warm underneath. Once you get it off, scrumble it up into your hand and your other hand, your gloved hand, and then you're gonna slide your finger underneath the second glove because you don't wanna touch this now with your bare hand. You're gonna slide your finger underneath and you're gonna wrap everything up into that glove. So you're gonna pull it all inside out. And now on the inside you can touch because that's been on the inside on your hand. And there you go. So your dirty glove is on the inside portion of your second glove, and then you can discard. Okay?